going to get started with version 1 and then we'll move on to version 2. It will be chaptered. So you can skip to version 2 right now if you're doing the other version of the hat. Or if you want to move on to the body of the hat, you can skip to those chapters as well. I also will be including the messy bun beanie hat in this tutorial. So I'm including all 8 of the patterns in one tutorial, and I'm going to see if I can make this as simplified as possible doing it like this. So let's start. So the first brim is accomplished by chaining a long chain and then joining it together with a slip stitch. I will be using a 4.5 millimeter crochet hook, scissors, sewing needles, and my yarn will be a 4-weight yarn. This pattern is worked in multiples of 14 for the brim and for the pattern in general. I will be using, for this brim, double crochets and then front post, back post, front post around for exactly 4 rounds of this brim. Let's start that with a slip knot. We're leaving a long enough tail to weave in the ends, and we're doing a chain of 84. Now, there is a trick that I know of. I don't remember where I learned it, but it helps you get the chain so that it's not twisting on you. So I'm going to show you that method, and I hope it helps you. All right, so I'm going to start with a chain of 4. Okay, and the trick works where you insert your hook into the first chain you made, and then you hold it right here, and you insert your hook into the first chain of what you're chaining up from. So it kind of looks like this. And the goal is that when you're done chaining up your large amount, I'm going to chain 10. So I chained 10 because I'm going to just do this in groups of 10 because I need to chain 84. So that's why I started with 4. So to do it easier for the counting, I tend to do that because I'm just a terrible counter. I'm good at math, but I'm bad at counting. I don't know. But so the idea is if you chain it with your hook into the first chain made and the chain you're working in, it's going to help you when you slip stitch. So I'm going to show you that on a small scale instead of chaining 84 right now, just to show you what it will look like. So I just slip stitched by pulling through, and my chain is not twisted. You see that? Each chain stitch is lining up in the correct direction. So that's a trick to help you guys do this brim or any project in the future for that matter, to help you not twist your chains. So it's just an idea to help you guys get through the chaining process. So go ahead, if you're doing this brim, chain up 84, and then I'll meet you when we're doing the slip stitch. And if you're doing this brim, the single crochet in the back loop brim, then I will have this video chaptered so you can skip to that portion of the tutorial for ease of access. Okay, so I have my chain of 84 complete, and I'm going to yarn over, pull through, and then pull through the first chain on the hook. And then I turn it slightly and it will show me if I've succeeded in making a chain that's not twisting. That was my goal. And this can work very well with those infinity scarves that require you to chain a million chains. And you're like, how? Or anything for that matter, where you have to make a huge, large ring. So it looks good. My chains don't seem to be twisted. So to begin the brim, we're going to chain 2 to start the brim off. And we're going to double crochet into each chain around. This chain 2 is just the anchor. It's not going to count as a stitch. So right here, we're going to go into this chain, but we're going to go in the back humps. I've opted to do the back humps. I don't know why I'm doing this to myself, but it does give you a cleaner looking brim. So we're just going to double crochet in each stitch around, and then we're going to slip stitch into the beginning double crochet. Then I'm going to pause the video and work my double crochet stitches around, and then I will meet you back when I have the last stitch worked. So this is the last double crochet, and I want you to check out what it looks like next to where the slip stitch is. So what you're going to do is you're going to be counting your stitches for this row or round, because you want to make sure you have the right amount of stitches for the pattern. If you have one less, the pattern isn't going to work, so you want to make sure you have the correct 84 going around. So I'm going to count my stitches, and then I'm going to slip stitch. So I have 84 double crochet stitches, and I am going to slip stitch into the double crochet at the beginning of the round to join. And it will look like this. Now we're working in rounds. The next 3 rounds will be rounds 2 through 4. So 2, 3, 4, 3 rounds. And we're just going to repeat the same thing. So I will show you what that is. And if you've never done a front post or back post double crochet, I hope this will help you learn it. So we're chaining 2, which does not count as a double crochet. And we're going to yarn over, and we're going to insert into the leg of the stitch. So you see the anatomy of the stitches. We have these 2 lines or loops right here and right here. Instead of working here into the both of these loops, we're going under this bar and we're going in here. So when we put it through, it'll come out the other end like so. And then we're going to go under these 2 vertical or horizontal lines, and we're going to pull it through the other leg. So we still have these 2 loops on the hook. We're going to yarn over. We're going to draw this yarned over loop through. So we have 3, and we're going to make the double crochet like we normally do by yarning over, drawing through 2, yarning over and drawing through these 2. And that is a front post. See how it brings this stitch to the front? So what we just did was we just did one of these, and it makes it look like a braid. But let me show you what a back post is. It's the opposite. So we go in through the back. We're going to yarn over. We're going to pinch it here to like hold it in place and use our other hand for that tension. And then we're kind of turning the work, because we're going to go but through the back in between these horizontal lines, if you could see that. So these are these loops that we normally work in, but we're going in between the leg, and then we're going to push the stitch and insert the hook in between the next leg. So we are in between these 2 horizontal stitches. And then this is what it looks like in the back, and this is what it looks like in the front. So we kind of turn it. This is what helps. And we yarn over, and we're pulling through the back, and we're going to have these 3 stitches on the hook, and we're just working a double crochet normally through 2, yarn over, draw through 2. And that's how you accomplish these front post, back post stitches. So we're yarning over. You can use any of your fingers to hold it. we're doing a front post. So we did a front post, back post. Now we're doing another front post. So we're going in between the legs of the stitch, ignoring these. So we're going in between and then pulling it through the other side. And it just pops that stitch. And then we're yarning over, pulling up a loop, yarning over, draw through 2 loops, yarn over, draw through these 2. So we're going to repeat that. We're going to yarn over, go through the back loop or the back post in between this area right here, push the stitch back and go in through the other similar area, kind of turn it so we can see, yarn over, pull up that loop, and sometimes it helps to pinch it here so that it manipulates the yarn easier. Yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2. And that is our front post, back post, front post, back post. So I'm going to just keep repeating that, and I will stay on the screen as I do so, just for this round. That way it's easier. So I'm inserting, doing a front post, yarning over, going in the back post, pushing it backward, and then doing my double crochet normally. And if you know how to do this, you can just skip ahead. But if you don't, then I hope this helped you. And if you need me to slow it down more, I can do that. Just leave a comment. Or if this did help you, I would love to know. So I'm just going to be repeating this same round. Okay, so I made it all the way around for this round, and I've gotten to, see, we have this back loop and then our front loop double crochet. I'm going to work a slip stitch into the double crochet, and this will not count as a stitch, as I said earlier. So I'm just going to slip stitch, and I'm going to chain 2 and do a front post double crochet around the front post like I was doing. So like I said, these horizontal parts of the stitch we're completely ignoring, and we're inserting it on the post of the stitch, and we're alternating front post, going in behind, ignoring those loops, back post, front post, and back post. And that's what we're repeating. So this is 2, this is round 3, and then we're going to repeat this for a 4th time, round 4. I just wanted to show you that before I moved on, because I don't know, but like, I just like to show it because I don't know the level of whoever's crocheting. You might be a beginner and you want to learn this technique, or you might be an expert and you already mastered this technique. So all levels are welcomed. I'm just making sure that I help beginners as much as I help the experts. So it will give you this nice braided look. And then when you add the 4th one, it'll be just like a nice little braid. Or at least that's what it looks like to me. It looks kind of like a knitted braid brim, but more thick, because this is a very, very thick brim. And it's very nice for, like, say, winter hats. If you wanted to use this brim and just do your own stitch, it would make sense to me. I mean, just because it's a nice thick brim. Anyways, enough of that. I will continue doing this, and I will join you back when I've gotten the 4th round complete. That way you can see what the brim looks like. So I'm just going to keep going and then show you the 4th round to complete. Okay, so I finished my 4 rounds of the double crochet front post, back post, and it's looking like this. So I'm going to finish by slip stitching into the front post double crochet of the beginning of the round, and I'm going to change out my yarn and show you how I made this particular brim for the option. And like I said, the video is chaptered, so if you wanted to continue with the hat pattern for this particular brim, you're just going to continue with the remainder of this, the body of the hat, and that will be round 1 of the body. So to do this brim, we're going to be using the same hook size and the same yarn weight. So the 4.5mm crochet hook and a size 4 worsted weight yarn. So to begin, so we're going to leave a little tail so that we can weave in the ends, but we're going to start with a slip knot and a chain of 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Chain of 8, and then we're going to turn the work. Instead of working in the V's, I'm going to work into the back humps, and we're going to skip the first chain stitch, and we're going to work into the back hump of the second, and each chain we're going to single crochet. So we're going to single crochet into the back humps across, and that's how we start. We will have a total of 7 single crochet stitches by doing this. I'm fumbling. It's okay. I like to scoop. You can just go into the V's. It doesn't really make that big a difference. Not really. Yeah, it doesn't make that big a difference. It just gives you this cleaner looking ridge. I love this mustard color. Okay, now that was row 1, and rows 2 through row 70 are the same repeat. So I'm just going to show you, sorry, I have fuzz. I'm just going to show you row 2, and then you will be able to repeat that by rewatching or if anything. So we're going to, chain 1, turn the work, and then we're going to be working in these back loops only. Right here in the back loops, and we will be single crocheting. So we got those fronts, and then we have the back loops, and we're just single crocheting, and that's what's going to give it the nice ridge. So insert into the back loop, yarn over, pull up a loop. We have 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So we are inserting into the back loop, yarning over, pulling a loop up, and then doing that single crochet. And when we get to the last stitch, don't do the back loop. I'll show you. We're going to be going into both loops because it gives it a more sturdy brim. So these are the 2 loops in the last stitch, and we're just going to go through the both of them. So we have these 2 loops. Yeah, and then we're single crocheting, and that I noticed gives it a more sturdier brim. So we're just repeating that for 70, and 70 is a multiple of 14. So chain 1, turn the work, and then single crochet into the back loop of 6, and both of the loops of the last stitch. Yep, and then just repeat that and repeat that. I want to show you how you can count it to make it easier. So we have, this is the first portion we made, and this is row 2. So we do 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. We count by 2s until we know we have 70. And then you can join me when you have 70, and I will show you how we will close this so that we create the brim. So to close the brim, we'll move on. We're going to chain 1, and we're going to turn the piece completely. We're going to fold it in half to make sure that it's not twisted. So it's folded in half. And then we will be, turning it like this. And we're just going into the both loops of the rows into the top layer, inserting into both loops of the bottom layer, and then we will be slip stitching 7 times to close it, because we have 7 total stitches in the row. So we'll do 1, insert into both loops, insert into the bottom, 2, and it should be even if you have your count correctly. We're just slip stitching. We have 2 left. This is 1, both loops, and this is the last stitch of the bottom layer and the top. So we have, this is it closed, and this is what it's going to look like for you. And then we can chain 1 and just turn the work. So I'm going to explain how to do the repeat, and then I'm going to show you guys how many of those multiples you need to do. This pattern is accomplished by working single crochets, half double crochets, double crochets, and treble crochets, and then working back down, which is where it gets its name from, the long wave stitch. This will be a 4 round repeat. So this is round 1, 2, 3, and 4. And it just continues 1, 2, 3, 4 until we have the height of the hat that we are attempting to make. Okay, so we started with that chain 1 after we turned our brim inside out, and we will be trying to work evenly into each sides of the row so that we have the correct stitch amount, which is 70. Now I'm going to show you one portion of the repeat and then work with you across just to make it easier. So if you know how to do this, you can skip ahead to round 2, but if you don't, I'm just trying to go with everyone's skill level. We are going to start by working into this side of the stitch where I don't know if you can see that kind of vertical knotted area, but we're going to work a half double crochet in the next 2. So half double, half double. So we're doing a double crochet, 1, then 2. Now we will be doing 1, 2, 3 treble crochets, and I will include the written repeat in the pattern. So you guys, if you're learning to read crochet patterns, or if you already do know how, it makes it easier for you. All about ease of access. So that's 3 treble crochet. And sorry, let me do that over. If you don't know what a treble is, you're yarning over twice. You're inserting your hook, yarning over, drawing up a loop, yarning over, and then you're drawing through 2, drawing through 2, and then the third time drawing through 2, and that's your treble crochet. So now we're going to work down the hill to the valley, and we're going to do 2 double crochets. And I hope I'm explaining this well. I never really know, but we're working those 2 double crochets. And then we're working 2 half double crochets. And then in these 3, we're going to do a single crochet. And that will be the repeat around the brim for the body for the first round. This is the repeat. We start 2 half doubles, 2 doubles, 3 trebles, 2 doubles, 2 half doubles, and then 3 single crochets. And that is what you will be repeating around. So I am coming to the last 3 single crochet. So this is 1, 2, and 3. And if you have completed the whole pattern and you count, you should have 70. And this is a extra space right here, so we will not be working here. We will just be slip stitching into the half double crochet in the beginning. And I do stress that I'm just gonna pull up this loop right here. I stress definitely count your stitches, because it will affect whether this hat works out for you or not. I hope you can see this with the single tone I used, but yeah, definitely count your stitches. So I'm moving my yarn aside and I'm keeping it attached, so that way you don't have to cut your yarn. But I'm just going to do my color changes like I do. I leave a little length to sew in, but I just put my new color and pull it through my old color, and I just pull it to secure it. Now I have my new color attached. Round 2, chain 1, and then we're working in the same stitch we chained up from, which is the half double. We're going to go into the back loops. So we're just finding that back loop because I tightened it. It's a little tight, so be careful with that. So we will be single crocheting into the back loop of each stitch. I just reached the last stitch, which is this single crochet stitch, and I'm just single crocheting and then slip stitch into the first single crochet of the round. You should have 70 stitches. Now we will move on to round 3. We will be taking up the color that we originally had. To change colors, we're going to repeat what we did before, and I'm just going to pull it through my color from round 2 and pull the round 2 tail, pull it tight to secure it without breaking it. And to start off round 3, we're going to chain up 2, and we're working in the stitch normally. So we're chaining up 2 and we're going to work into the same stitch we chained up from. We're going to double crochet 1 and 2, so 1 into the next 2 stitches. And we are beginning the repeat. It starts with the double crochets. And now we're going to do 2 half double crochets. One in the next 2. And then we will be doing 3 single crochets, so 1 in the next 3. This is basically the opposite of what we did in round 1. Now we will be doing 2 half double crochets to go back up the hill. Now we do 2 double crochets. And then finally, we will be working 3 treble crochets. So this is the repeat portion for this round. We have 2 double crochets, 2 half doubles, 3 singles, 2 half doubles, 2 doubles, and then our 3 treble crochets. I'm going to repeat this around until I've reached the last stitch. Okay, so I'm at the last 3 stitches, which are the treble crochets, 1 in each. So this is the last 3 stitches, and I will be slip stitching into the first double crochet right there. Okay, so for round 4, we're going to do that color change that we did earlier, where we pull through and then pull this tight without breaking it to tighten it. Move that aside. So for round 4, we're repeating what we did in round 2, which we're chaining up 1, and then we are working into the back loops of each of these stitches. And we will have 70 stitches at the end of this, and I'm just going to single crochet into the back loops around, and then I will meet you around when you have your 70 single crochet complete. Okay, so this is the last single crochet, and I'm going to slip stitch to close. This is your 4 round repeat. 1, 2, 3, 4. So these 4 rounds you will repeat for the various sizes of hats that you're trying to make. So for instance, if you're trying to make, I will put the actual repeats on the page so you can write it down or just make a mental note. But if you're going to make a messy bun, you're repeating this until you have 16 rounds total. If you're making a beanie, a regular beanie hat, you will repeat this for 20 rounds. If you're making a slightly slouchy hat, you'll repeat this for 24 rounds. And if you are making a very slouchy hat, you'll repeat it for 28. And then I will show you how to close it. So if you're making the beanie style hats or the slouchy style, you're going to finish off the hat differently than if you're making a messy bun. So if you're making a beanie, what you're going to do is you're going to cut a length of yarn that's long enough to sew the hat closed, because you're just going to whip stitch it closed. You're just going to go in and out of the stitches in the top loops until, and then pull it and then go in and out, pull it in and out and pull it so that you seam the hat closed like that on the top. And that's just for the beanie style. So if you're just doing the beanies or the slouchy, you're done up until those rounds. But if you want to keep going with me, I'm going to show you how to do the messy bun hat, because those are really popular for markets and things like that. So I'm going to continue with my repeats until I have 16 rounds, and then I will meet you guys when you have 16 rounds completed of the repeat pattern. And then I will show you how you close the top of it, or how you get this to kind of be the opening. So messy bun, 16 rounds, and I will meet you back when you have those 16 rounds complete. This is 16 rows complete. Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 rows complete. Now I'm going to cut this yarn and long enough to sew it in because I'm done with this variegated yarn. And I'm going to switch back to my main color because I'm going to work the decrease round for the top. I'm going to continue with the next color. I'm just going to do the slip stitch and pull up the main color, which is the mustard yellow, and then pull this tightly to secure it. And I'm just going to continue with round 16, actually round 17. So we're going to chain 1, and we're going to decrease in each stitch around, and we're going into both loops. So we're just going to do a normal decrease, which it will be insert the hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, and do this over 2 stitches. So we're inserting, yarning over, pulling up another loop, and we have 3 loops, and we're going to yarn over and pull through all 3, and that will be our decrease. So we'll repeat that. Insert the hook, yarn over, draw up a loop, insert the hook into the next stitch, yarn over, draw up a loop. That's 3, and we're doing that. Pull through 3, and that's a decrease. So we're going to just do this around, and yeah. So decrease in each stitch around. And I will meet you around when you've completed all of your decreases. You should have 35, which is half of 70. If you are doing this with the 84 that you began with, you will have 42. That completes round 17, and for round 18, or that completes round 17, and then we're going to slip stitch. I'm going to chain 1, and we're going to repeat that. We're going to decrease into each stitch around. So we're going to decrease over 2, decrease over 2, until we've decreased all the way around. So we decreased in each stitch, and we are left with 1 stitch remaining. And then we're going to slip stitch into the first decrease stitch of the round right here. Pull that close, and then our last stitch, or our last round, we're just going to single crochet into each of these decrease points. So we just single crochet around and then slip stitch, and that's the end of the hat, that we completed the hat. Okay, so we're left with 18 stitches remaining, and then we're going to slip stitch into the first stitch and tie off the yarn, sew in the ends, and we're basically done with this hat until we sew the ends. And this is the hole that your beanie will, or your messy bun will go in through. And yeah, this is what the hat looks like complete. as a messy bun. Let me show you how the inside looks with the seam the way I did it. So this is what the inner seam looks like. It's pretty nice. No sewing, you have to only sew these parts in, which I really, really like. So thank you guys for watching this tutorial, and I hope you enjoy it. I will leave a link to the written pattern in the description for you below. Yes, that's it. Okay, bye. Have a good night or day. See you in the next tutorial or video. Bye.